Hello, this is Robert. I'm a tax attorney here at TRP. We're going to be going over what you do when you have 20 or more years of unfiled tax returns. So here's what you do and why it's easier than some tax professionals might lead you to believe. And if you have 10 or more years of unfiled, about 10 years, see our other video on 10 years. If you just have unfiled tax returns, you can see our general video on unfiled tax returns. We'll have links to both of those below. First, what not to do on more than 20 years unfiled. Do not just go to a CPA or EA and just file all the unfiled tax years. You might be filing things that do not need to be filed. The IRS and state might have already come up with a lower balance for you, and there might be a lot of debts here that are already expired, especially with the IRS. California and New York, there are probably still going to be some debts there, and sometimes they've come up with some pretty large balances for you. Okay, so first you want to see what they have filed for you, if anything. You want to ask the IRS about 140 codes on any unfiled years and ask if they're still looking for it. They're probably not looking for anything that's older than 10 years. Right now in 2019, they're probably looking for like 2010, 2011 is the oldest. Before that, or around that time, even for most people, they've already done a substitute for return, or they have skipped it. And a substitute for return is pretty much they're just taking the data that they have on file and they prepare the tax return for you as single and just yourself as a dependent. So sometimes IRS skips old years or does a year for you with a lower balance and you're lucky. The best option sometimes is just to only file what is required and sometimes just skip those years. So a tax year that was, already a substitute for return and was prepared over 10 years ago, unless you had a bankruptcy or offer and compromise pending or a couple other things out of the country for a long time, most likely it's already expired. Okay, so if you owed IRS debt for 1998 and you would have owed if you filed and you didn't file, well, it's very likely 98 was already done by them and expired by now. But you should call and find out, or have someone call for you like we do. And you want to order wage and income information for each unfiled year that has to be filed, and for the years where they filed for you, if you think you're going to lower the balance and the debt's not expiring too quickly. You can also order an account transcript to see if there are any payments you made that were not withheld from employers. So if you're self-employed, you might also want to order an account transcript. If you made some estimated tax payments, you're not sure exactly what it was. So when states are not filed for more than 20 years, it gets a little more complicated depending on the state, of course. But often they go back many years longer than the IRS. IRS and states will usually come up with much higher balances than you really would owe too. California, whose professional licenses just come up with a balance. California and New York are probably the best states at collecting on people that have already left the state. So states often get to preparing substitute for returns also faster than the IRS. And the statute of limitations are also higher. They got more years to collect in most cases. So here's an example. They sent me a letter for $9,000 when I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. I am licensed as a California attorney, but was not living in California at all. They assumed a debt based on the professional license. So in 2011, they literally sent me a letter, said, hey, you owe $9,000 because the average attorney in California makes $90-some thousand, and this is what we think that you owe because you didn't file here. Well, I didn't need to file there because I was in Nevada. So I actually had to send them a copy of my paperwork showing that I live in Nevada now, and then they took it off. Just on the collection statute expiration date, which is how long they have to collect, New York and California are both 20 years. And there's things that can extend it just like the IRS. Okay, so you're going to want to get wage and income information from the state. You're going to ask how much tax was withheld and paid to the state if for any reason is not on the paperwork. As some states do not have this data, and you can request a copy of your W-2 from your old employer. So if you already have your W-2s, you already have this information. I've just had a couple of times where we've called some of the smaller states and they're like, oh, we don't even know what they paid in. You got to find it from the employer. But, a lot of the bigger states, you just call in, they'll say, oh yeah, we had this much tax withheld on your state taxes, because it's not going to show state tax payments on the IRS wage and income information. So pretty much you're going to file what needs to be filed and proceed on resolving the debt. Some states like California, they're not even going to review an offer and compromise until all missing years are filed. Now, I've heard that they're now making some exceptions for years in the early 90s and late 80s, but I have not seen it actually done yet. So far, they are actually requesting that the tax returns be completed. So there's an easy way to deal with unfiled tax returns. You can call us at 888-515-4829. Also, 515-4-TAX is the easy way to remember it. Or you can go to www.trp.tax. Talk to our live chat or click the contact us area there. We order the information, check it all out, file what needs to be filed, and proceed on the best resolution. If we cannot help you, we'll tell you. We're not making any false promises or trying to guarantee you a settlement or anything if we don't think it's a possibility. We only submit settlements we think can be accepted if you end up owing at the end of all the filings. So if you're going alone, check out our free tax help guide. You can see that at trp.tax/tax help. This is Tax Resolution Professionals. Thanks for watching, and have a great week.